January 27th, 2024. I'm going to Kobe with my good friend in Japan, or good friend from Japan. We started off the day at Karasuma Station, where we met our friend and walked through the station to our train that would bring us to Kobe. Along the way, we found a Mario wall. Well, actually not really found. She wanted to show me a section of that tunnel that was basically entirely Mario themed. And if you're a fan of Mario, this place is a really, really highly recommended place for me to visit because each wall has its own speaker that plays the music of the zone or world that the art is based around. So for instance, if you're in the water area, you'll hear like the music from the water levels. If you're in the castle levels or castle walls, the art, then you'll hear the music from those levels. Super, super cool and highly recommend for you guys to check it out. Once we made it to Kobe, the first thing that we did was eat some lunch, and we ate at a place called Steakhouse Zen. And personally for me, I really, really enjoyed this place. It had a very, very high-class feel to it, and definitely for good reason because the Kobe beef and the Wagyu beef, which is what we got, were about 130. Sorry, let me say that one more time. It was about 13000 yen. So that's 13,000 yen. It gets a little confusing. And then the Wagyu beef was about 8,000 yen. We got both of them to share, so it ended up being around 10,000 yen for each of us. And if you translate that into US dollars, that's about $65 per person. Actually, sorry, it's probably closer to $68. Either way, definitely one of the most expensive meals I've had in Japan so far, but also one of the best. The place pretty much reminded me that it's about how you use the ingredients, or the ingredients itself, how you use it, how you make it, that makes the food good, not necessarily what it is. Because pretty much everything I ate tasted amazing. The soup, the bread, the vegetables, and for me, I don't eat too many vegetables, or like too many vegetables, that is. But I definitely liked these ones. And I think the most interesting thing about the experience was that I enjoyed the Wagyu beef more than the Kobe beef, despite the Kobe beef being significantly more expensive. So that is something I will definitely keep in mind for the next time. Simply get the cheaper one and save some money, because honestly, it tastes better, like much better to me. And I find it kind of funny because the next day I talked to a friend who went to Kobe recently as well, and she told me she had the exact same experience. And she told me that like in the middle of my sentence before I was gonna say what I was gonna say, so I know she wasn't just like mimicking me. So if you ever go to Kobe, definitely try both types. But I suppose both are in a way Kobe beef since it's beef from Kobe. So we were definitely off to a great start of the day because that meal was just amazing. One of the best so far in the 3.5 weeks I've been in Japan. And from there, we went to the Atoa Aquarium. I'd say that this aquarium itself is definitely worth a visit. It's not the same as the Osaka Aquarium. It's a completely different experience, I'd say. And I find it interesting how places can make aquariums feel different. For me, I'm not someone who seeks to go to aquariums or zoos, but this one definitely felt special and fun. There was a section where they had this spherical ball that was pretty big, probably 2 to 3 meters in radius, in the center of a cylindrical room. And there would be a light show that happens every 10 to 15 minutes. We managed to sit around and watch 2 of them. There's also a rooftop area where you can see the harbor of Kobe. This is where I tried a raspberry churro that was definitely really good. The black one was also really good as well. That one tasted more like a normal churro. I think this was also the first time I got to see a capybara. Definitely one of the cutest animals when they eat. And after the aquarium, we walked to a pretty popular place in Kobe. I believe it's called Harborland. It's where the Be Kobe sign is at. And I think for this day, they were having some sort of event honoring those that have passed during the earthquake in Kobe. So there was definitely a lot of people, but it was still definitely a very, very nice place to explore. And they also have like a takoyaki truck there where I got a different kind of takoyaki. They called it the Sakura takoyaki. I believe they put mentai on it. It's sort of like pink, and that's where the Sakura part of the name comes from. And I thought it was probably one of the best takoyakis I've had in Japan overall. So 2 things that I ate this day that made the day very memorable. I'm sort of discovering that I really, really like trying like just good food in Japan. I feel like everyone does, but for me, it just feels like such a great experience to try good new food. Like it gives me a feeling that other things do not, if that makes sense. Speaking of which, we visited Chinatown in Kobe at night. And I really think visiting this place at night is worth it because all the lights are lit up and it just makes the place look very, very aesthetic. We ended up getting one of those things, I forgot what the exact name is called, but if you've eaten at any Chinese restaurant before and had like a white bun with some roasted duck, it's similar to that. So if you see any stands that have those, definitely try it because it's really good. And the other thing that we got was the Kobe sashimi. It was the first time my friend got that as well, and when we both had it, that was really solid, like really good. Definitely highly recommend that. The third thing that I ate that was special for the first time that tasted amazing. And the final part of the day was us somewhat rushing to the station because I found out that they had a Cremia location there. And I think I got way too excited because my friend was noticing it and she kept saying like I was like a kid, just like super excited for ice cream. And me and her are both fans of Haikyuu. So for some odd reason, we were just talking about Haikyuu and remembering this line from Hinata that where he met that one cool guy from the third season. I believe his name is Ushijima. So I was telling her the scene in English because I read the subtitles and I was asking her like what did he say in Japanese. So he basically just said like in English it's I'm Hinata from the concrete. In Japanese it's Hinata desu concreto shushin. And we're not entirely sure if that's exactly what he said, but it has the meaning of what we remember. So I was basically mimicking Hinata, but instead of saying that I was me, or Hinata, I was saying that I was ice cream from the concrete. So I don't know why I was saying that. It was just really, really funny to the both of us. And I think we were just having a good time. That's one of the things that just made this day like super fun, is just hanging out with my friend from Japan, like together, and just speaking a lot of Japanese, practicing a lot. And she's also practicing English. So it was just a good time to just talk throughout the whole experience while we were eating, while we were exploring the aquarium, Harborland, and Chinatown. So without her, this day would not be even close to as good as it was. I think another fun thing between the two of us was me asking her about the informal way of saying thank you. Like everybody knows arigato, but like there's this phrase that he says a lot in Haikyuu, which is azas. And that is one of the things that I find really, really cool. But apparently she told me most of the time it's like younger people, like teenagers, and so that say it. Like it's not frequently said by adults, I suppose. But she said that for us, because we understand like where it's coming from, like I can say it to her and she'll understand that I'm not being immature or anything like that. And she would respond with something I believe another character in Haikyuu says, which is hai ie. In a way, it's like yes and no at the same time. So it's sort of something that we formed with each other. And obviously it's taken from Haikyuu in a way, but it's fun to just have something like that. Anyways, continuing on with the events, we made it to the place that sold Cremia since they don't have actual stores. You kind of have to find like their website and look for stores that sell Cremia ice cream. And for me, I ended up getting the mix of the vanilla and chocolate, which I think was a mistake because I personally really, really liked the vanilla one by itself. Never tried the chocolate one before, first time, and I thought that it was okay. The chocolate one was okay, and I think it kind of overpowered the vanilla taste, so it wasn't as amazing as it was the first time I had it. Either that or the quality is different in different stores. The cone though, that's pretty consistent and amazing. So I definitely need to visit another Cremia store and get the vanilla one. There's also a matcha one in Uji that I will definitely try to get. But that was pretty much the end of the day, and we went back to Kyoto. It was a super fun day, and I think the takeaway is something I already said, which is that I think that this day would not have been half as good without my friend there. I think it's pretty important to find people that you can travel with that are flexible, match your pace, and also match your energy as well. My friend is a very thoughtful person that is also very sweet, and whenever we talk, she likes asking like good questions and interesting questions. And it's also fun to just like help each other practice the other language. So I think that's very, very like valuable, and I'm super grateful for her. It's definitely not something I should take for granted or overlook. So I'm definitely going to thank her a lot more than usual after this audio journal. And I think that's another very powerful thing about journaling in general, is just like reflecting on the day and really feeling like the feelings I had throughout the day, but processing it and allowing that to guide some next actions. I find that oftentimes after I journal, I tend to remember certain things like conversations we've had, things I said I would do, so I write it down, and I just get a feeling of gratitude sometimes where I want to message the other person that I hung out with. And I oftentimes don't really find that in other people. Like, I don't really get the messages that I send, if that makes sense. And I don't mind. It's something that I feel is like an extra, a bonus thing, not necessarily like the norm. And my friend also always thanks me for the day as well, so that's already like good enough. But that's pretty much it for this day. Definitely one of my favorite days so far in Japan. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but I suppose that's to be expected since this place is pretty awesome. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one.